return on Sportverein München von 1860, commonly known as TSV 1860 München or 1860 Munich, is a German sports club based in Munich. The club's football team plays in the 2. Bundesliga, after relegation from the Bundesliga following the 2003-04 season. 1860 Munich was one of the founding members of the Bundesliga in 1963, becoming West German champions in 1966, and has played a total of 20 seasons in the top flight. Since 2005, 1860 Munich's stadium has been the Allianz Arena. 1860 Munich has a rivalry with Bayern Munich. History, origins of the club. The roots of the TSV's founding as a physical fitness and gymnastics association go back to a meeting held July 15, 1848 in a local pub, Butliche Brauerei zum Bayerischen when. It was a time of revolutionary ferment due to the 1848 revolutions, and the club was banned in 1849 by the Bavarian monarchy for republican activities. The club was formally re-established on May 17, 1860 and after mergers with a number of other local associations in 1862 was known as Turnverein München. A football department was created on March 6, 1899 and played its first matches against other squads 3 years later. 1900 Euro 1945, in 1911. The team adopted the familiar lion to their crest and in 1919 was renamed TSV München 1860. By the mid-1920s they were playing competitive football in the country's upper leagues, like the Bezirksliga Bayern, making a national semi-final appearance in 1927. Die La Paragraphen challenged for the championship in 1931 but dropped a 2-3 decision to Hertha Berlin. 2 years later they made another semi-final appearance which they lost to Schalke 04 who were on their way to becoming the dominant side in German football through the 1930s and 40s. In 1933, German football was reorganized under the Third Reich into 16 top-flight divisions known as Gauligen. TSV joined the Gauliga Bayern where they earned second-place finishes in 1934, 1938, and 1939, before finally capturing a division championship in 1941. Their subsequent playoff appearance saw them finish second in their pool to finalist Rapid Wien. The following season they failed to advance to the national playoff rounds, but did go on to earn their first major honors by defeating Schalke 04 to capture the Chammerpokal, known today as the German Cup. TSV returned to the national playoffs again in 1943, progressing to the quarter-finals. Post-war, after World War II, 1860 played in the top-flight Oberliga Zur Quarter D as a mid-table side, suffering relegation for a period of 3 years in the mid-1950s. However, they delivered when it mattered most in 1963 by winning the league championship and with it automatic entry into Germany's new professional league, the Bundesliga, ahead of rivals Bayern Munich who would have to wait 2 seasons for their own top-flight debut since the German Football Association did not want 2 teams from the same city in the new league. 1860 continued to perform well through the mid-1960s, they captured their second German Cup in 1964, played the 1965 Cup Winners' Cup final against West Ham United a Euro losing 0-2, came away as Bundesliga champions in 1966, and finished as runners-up the next year. The 1970s, 1980s and 1990s, those performances were followed by poor showings in 3 consecutive seasons leading to relegation in 1970 to the Regionalliga Zur Quarter D. It took 1867 years to make their way back to the first division, through a 3-game playoff contest with Arminia Bielefeld, only to be immediately relegated again. A year later they were back, this time for a 2-year stay. Then in 1982 they were relegated once again and enforced in the Tier 3 amateur Oberliga Bayern when financial problems led to the club being denied a license. The club's exile from the Bundesliga would last a dozen years. They were promoted to the top flight in 1994, but found themselves in immediate danger being sent back down again. However, President Karl-Heinz Wildmoser and manager Werner Lorient made several shrewd purchases including striker Olaf Bodden, winger Harold Cerny, playmaker Peter Novak, and defensive stoppers Miroslav Stevia, Jens Jeremies and Manfred Schwab. Stars like Abedi Peel, Thomas Heiler and Davor Angstrom-Jürke played for 1860 as their careers were winding down, becoming crowd favourites and making important contributions. 2000 Euro present, under the heavy-handed, dictatorial leadership of Wildmoser and Laurent, the combination of proven veterans and young talent helped the club avoid relegation and become a decent mid-table side. 1860 earned a fourth-place Bundesliga finish in 2000 and were entered into the Champions League third qualifying round where they faced Leeds United, however a 3-1 aggregate defeat saw them play in the UEFA Cup that season, advancing to the third round where they were put out by Parma. However, the club was unable to build on this success and after some mediocre performances by the team, manager Laurent was fired. After a decade in the top division, 1860 burnt out in the 2003-04 season with a 17th-place finish that returned the club to the 2. Bundesliga. Wildmoser made the controversial decision to ground share with hated rivals Bayern Munich in the Allianz Arena, a move that outraged fans and led to accusations of a sellout. His downfall came when he and his son Karl-Heinz Wildmoser Jr. were caught in a bribery scandal around the awarding procedure for the contract to build the stadium. In addition to closely being relegated to the Regionalliga Saar 1/4 D in the 2005-06 season, 1860 experienced severe financial difficulties. Stadium partner Bayern Munich bought out TSV's 50% interest in the Allianz Arena in late April 2006 for $11 million, providing the club some immediate financial relief. Following this move, the German Football Association was satisfied with the financial health of the club and duly issued 1860 a license to play in the 2. Bundesliga for the 2006-07 season. 1. TSV hired several new managers during its 2. Bundesliga period. The first was Rudi Bommer, followed by Rainer Maurer, Walter Skachner, Marco Kurz and Ur Wolf. Also, former German national squad player Stefan Reuter as a general manager. However, neither of the new managers could lead the squad back to the 1. Bundesliga. Ewald Lienen coached the team from May 13, 2009 to the end of the 2009-10 season. Rainer Maurer has been coaching 1860 since the start of the 2010-11 season. 1860 came close to insolvency for a second time in 5 years in 2011 when it needed $8 million to survive. Help was offered to the club by local rival Bayern Munich, to the disgust of the supporters of each club, since Bayern was to lose a $50 million in future stadium rent if the club defaulted on its rental contract obligations until 2025. Eventually, the club was rescued by Jordanian investor Hassan Abdullah Ismail, who purchased for $18 million, 60% of the club's professional team's operating company 1860 GmbH & Company. ggAe, however, his voting rights being restricted to 49% due to regulations governing German football, which is based around membership-led clubs and not entrepreneurial. ๊ʔaxt International, a company controlled by Ismail, took over the marketing of the club from IMG. In September, it was announced that British car manufacturer Aston Martin is the main sponsor of 1860 Munich. Reserve team. The TSV 1860 Ma 1/4 NCHEN2, or, previous to that, the TSV 1860 Ma 1/4 NCHEN Amateur, have been historically quite successful, on Bavarian level. The team has played in the Regionalliga Saar 1/4 D from 2004 to 2012, missing out on 3. Liga qualification in the 2007-08 season and again in 2013 when it won the newly formed Regionalliga Bayern but lost to SV Elversberg in the promotion round. The second 11 struggled during the club's years outside professional football, but rose through the ranks again after the club's revival in the early 1990s and returned to the Bayernliga in 1996, winning the title in its first season there and promotion to the Regionalliga. The team belonged to the Regionalliga until 2001 and then again from 2004 onwards. The club is the only one in Bavaria to have won the Bayernliga with its first and second team. Ground. TSV 1860 Ma 1/4 NCHEN play their home matches in the Allianz Arena, which they share with city rivals Bayern Munich. The arena's skin color lighting is changed to 1860s blue when the team plays. The club's inaugural game at the Allianz Arena was a friendly played against FC Nuremberg on May 30, 2005. The stadium hosted the opening match of the 2006 World Cup between Germany and Costa Rica and 3 other first-round contests, a round of 16 match between Germany and Sweden, and a semi-final between France and Portugal. Until recently the club co-owned the facility with Bayern Munich, but sold its 50% share on April 28, 2006 to help resolve a serious financial crisis that saw TSV facing bankruptcy. Originally TSV played in the Stadion an der Grau 1 court in Waldesstraße, built in 1911, and which they also shared with Bayern Munich between 1925 and 1972. Both clubs then moved to the new Olympia Stadion built for the 1972 Olympic Games. TSV moved back to the old ground several times from 1972 on, with the years between 1982 and 1995 being the longest period. In the 2004 season TSV spent one last year at ʻzɛçt as the Allianz was being readied. TSV 1860 Ma 1/4 НCHEN have not been able to meet the capacity standards of the Allianz Arena and are currently looking for a new stadium in which to play future years. Recent seasons. The recent season-by-season performance of the club, honors, the club's honors, League, German Championship, Champions, 1966, runners-up, 1931, 1967. Oberliga Saar 1/4 D, Champions, 1963. Gorliga Bayern, Champions, 1941, 1943. Second Bundesliga Saar 1/4 D, Champions, 1979, runners-up, 1977. Second Oberliga Saar 1/4 D, Champions, 1955, 1957. Bayernliga, Champions, 1984, 1991, 1993, runners-up, 1986, 1990. Cup, German Cup, winner, 1942, 1964. European Cup Winners' Cup, runners-up, 1965. Players, current squad, as of August 13, 2014, according to official website. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. For recent transfers, see List of German football transfers summer 2014 and List of German football transfers winter 2013 Euro 14. TSV 1860 Ma 1/4 НCHEN 2 squad. Notable former players, managers Frederik Spexley, Max Merkel, Hans Wolfgang Weber, Gunter Baumann, Albert Singh, Hans Pilz, Fritz Langner, Franz Binder, Hans Tilkowski, Erich Schwarz, Rudi Gutendorf, Max Merkel, Heinz Lucas, Eckhard Kratzahn, Alfred Baumann, Karl-Heinz Rah 1/4 HL, Wenzel Halama, Wilibert Kramer, Kurt Schwarzhuber, Eric Beer, Ben Porsk, Octavian Popescu, Eric Beer, Wenzel Halama, Dieter Kurz, Varudin Jasufi, Thomas Sonder, Jurkla Matuszewski, Willy Barovka, Carson Wittberg, Werner Laurent, Peter Fackelt, Folgo Gar Paragraph TZ, Gerald Vanenberg, Rudolf Bommer, Rainer Maurer, Bernhard Trez, Walter Skutschner, Marco Kurz, Thor Wolf, Ewald Lienen, Rainer Maurer, Alexander Schmidt, Friedhelm Funkel, Marcus von Ahlen, Ricardo Moniz. Sponsorship, references. External links, 1860 Wiki, UFODA European Football Club profiles and current team rosters.